All right, so we are back, and with me, I have a very special guest. So I gave you guys a little bit of a hint, didn't give you much of a hint, but we've got two-time Emmy Award winner, head of social for Colin Cowherd's podcast network, The Volume, and most importantly, a valued member of Raider Nation. We've got Brittany Valenzuela Cohen. Brittany, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming on. I know that, we've been talking back and forth and wanting to get you on. And I think that right now is the perfect time to do it, especially today as we're closing out National Women's History Month. Wanted to make sure that we celebrate some of the women's voices in sports. So wanted to bring somebody who I know has a big voice in sports, and you.
Thank you. Seriously, that means so much to me. It's like, as you say that, it's like very crazy to hear that. I'm working on it, but yeah, thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Nah, thanks for coming on. Now, first things first, I know that you recently moved to Tennessee. So how is it going from the Bay Area, where obviously everybody's mostly all about the Raiders? Now you got, some Niner fans that jumped on the bandwagon. But how is it being a Raiders fan over in Titan Country?
I mean, so I moved probably 5 weeks ago, I think it was now. And honestly, I haven't really explored a bunch or like been out that much to actually be able to see it. So I think football season is going to be really interesting
Yeah.
um, once that rolls around. But what's really cool is I have one of my really good guy friends from college plays for the Titans. So I kind of, like I am a Raider fan till the day I die, but I have that little trickle of like, I'm still like a player fan. So I think it'll
Right.
be fun to go to the games, but you'll always catch me in my Raider gear no matter what.
Of course. And Bones and Josephine, they are out there sometimes, and I think they have the bar out there. So if you ever are out there, they're huge Raider fans, so you can always meet up with them as well.
Yeah, I'm in on that. I need that. I'm gonna need like a little bit of like home base. I'm definitely already missing the Bay Area.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's in you left at the wrong time. It just got hot out here. It's like 83 degrees. It's perfect. It's beautiful, but I'm not going to rub it in. Don't worry.
Just rub it in. I'm over
No
here
tornado
in our
warnings.
stores. Yeah. My friends are texting me. My family's like, "So flood warning? What's going on with that? Like, how are we?" I'm like, I don't know. It's a new life, but
We just
you know,
had earthquakes over here.
yeah, yeah. I had to switch it up.
So right, I actually when I was living in Kansas, I was in a tornado, and um I was like, give me back to California. I just want earthquakes. But okay, what I want to do is first things first. I know that you're working for the Volume. You work for Colin Cowherd. I gotta address the elephant in the room. Now I know that some Raider fans get frustrated with him, but he's entertaining. He knows what he does. He's great at what he does. He's obviously had tremendous success. How is it working with him?
Honestly, my first meeting with him, he was so nice. I he was just an all-around genuine human being, and the first conversation I had with him, he was like, "Okay, Brittany, excited to have you on the team," and kind of already knew a bunch of stuff about me, so I was a little surprised. And it wasn't like he just hired me and that was it. It was like he was like, "Okay, so what do you want to get better at? What are your goals and how can I help you? And this is what you're going to be doing here." So it was more of like he got to know me on a personal level, as opposed to at a lot of companies you don't ever meet the person that's that high up,
Yeah.
so to be able to have, that kind of relationship with someone like that, it's really nice, and I'm definitely grateful for it. He's just a really nice human.
He seems like he is. I mean, I know obviously a lot of it is an act, and he has to keep up that image on TV, but he seems like a really nice guy. And I'm looking at you guys over there at the Volume. You guys have tons of star power. I mean, well, let's talk about that. All the people that you're working with. What are you doing over there?
Well, so we're a startup, so it's kind of fun because we're able to have our hands in a bunch of different things. So I'm working from, I'm working on our social team, and then I'm also helping produce podcasts. I've been more so working with Renee Paquette, who does a lot of our combat sports. She's absolutely amazing. I can't even say enough good things about her. She's been so incredible to work with. And then I work with Akib Talib. He is absolutely incredible with the whole Raider background. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna need to talk about this about the chain game, like what's going on here. And he's great people. Like he's just such a real guy. I love working with him. And then Jenkins and Jones, I don't know if you follow him on NBA Twitter, them and Mike Gardabaccio. He's their host. They're hilarious. So those are the podcasts I'm kind of like more centered on. And then so I produce those with them. And then yeah, I work social. It's great. It's been so much fun. It's been a great experience so far, and I'm excited to see, where like how this all pans out.
Yeah, no, I mean it's huge. And I think that, you talked about the Keep to Leave, and I actually saw that snippet that you posted, and I retweeted it out because it's crazy. We I, as a Raider fan, remember that vividly. I was watching that
Oh,
game. I was at that game, and I mean it was within the first minute that it goes down. And I mean, you remember it vividly. You see Gabe on the sideline fighting. You see Crabtree sitting in the end zone with his helmet off, swinging on Talib. Talib's got his chain in his hand. And this wasn't the first time that it happened. It was the second time. And
mm-hmm.
Talib told him, he said, if you wear that chain, I'm gonna snatch it. So it was
That's
funny
who he
to
is.
yeah, it's
Oh,
funny
but
because you got the people, and as well as I do, you get the people on social media that talk about it. Talib is about it,
oh
and
yeah,
and he showed it on the field. So
yeah.
I that was really, it was cool to see. It was cool to get the athlete's perspective of it.
Mhm.
Um,
They actually
but
grew, I think I might be a little bit off here, but they are both from Dallas. So they have like a background together and stuff too. And I didn't know that. So it made the story, like when he told the story, it made it that much better. And
yeah,
as like a Raider fan, you're a little biased, right? Like,
right.
and then so when I started working with him, I'm like, listen, I'm a Raider fan. We need to talk about this. And he just started laughing. I'm like, okay, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, as Raider fans, we get very, very protective of our team and our players, and those who are on the team, we treat them like they're our family. And if they're not on the team, then depending on how it ends, then they're still family. Or if they're Antonio Brown, they can go off in a hot air balloon. But we won't talk about that.
Yeah, like, yeah.
But what I wanted to bring you on today is the first thing I really want to do is just get a chance to speak with you, get a chance to chat with you. We talk a lot on social media. We talk a lot, about everything that's going on. But with National Women's History Month closing out, which for me, I think of it as like something that we shouldn't have to have a month dedicated to it. It's just like Black History Month, right? Like, why do we have a month dedicated to it? Why aren't we celebrating it year round? Why aren't we celebrating diversity in this year round? Um, but what do you see happening in 2021 as opposed to the previous years, with women voices in sports?
Oh wow. I think that there's a lot more. I think women are owning their voice a lot more. If you look at what happened recently with the NCAA whole situation of the
Yes.
weight in the weight room, I was actually talking to Jenkins and Jones on their podcast, kind of talked about this a little bit. And we had like a pre-production meeting. And I was just saying, like, I've worked for the Pac-12. I worked for the Pac-12 for 5 years. I also was a cheerleader at San Jose State. And I think being able to use your voice and your platform now is allowed. And it's not like you couldn't do it before. It was just kind of like there was a lot of negativity around it. And like women could be seen as too much of this, too much of that. And now it's just kind of women feel more power to be able to speak their minds, and they should have always, it should have always been
Absolutely.
like that. But I think now we have like women backing each other, and then there are those men, which there or not a lot of, but there are those men that like are using their platform to say like, hey, this is not cool, NCAA, let's figure this out. And like it's unfortunate that women have to also like look to men like, hey, we need your support.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we do. And that's kind of like um something that I've seen happen a lot more that makes me proud to like work in the sports industry, because we're giving a platform to all these women. Like you also just saw Sue Bird, um, and Simone Manuel and Chloe, and I forget who the other person is, but they just created the Together Network,
Mhm.
which is like a all women based company. And being able to see that as a woman is absolutely incredible, because you're like,
Yeah.
I at the Pac-12, we want to elevate women's voices, but the men are still the moneymaker, right? Like it's just known to be that way. So to be able to see women creating these companies and like using their platforms and their voice a lot more, it's really, really empowering and inspiring.
Yeah, it definitely is. I know that like in my lifetime and obviously your lifetime as well, we've seen a lot of advances. We've had Title IX, we've had, what's happened recently with the NCAA women's team. We've seen the women speaking up more. We see men obviously speaking up more as well. We're seeing more diversity, not only just in roles in like social media and such, but also in actual leagues. We're seeing female coaches, we're seeing female referees, we're
Right.
seeing more women of power in, in head leadership positions with teams. What do you think is causing that charge of people changing their minds and saying, well, you know what, women can do this?
That's a great question. I think that one, it has to do with like women finally like owning their voice. Like I said,
Hmm.
women finally owning the space that they have and like not being afraid. Um, and kind of, like I said, using their platform to be that person, like,
Yeah.
hey, it doesn't matter if I am this or that. Like I still know what the hell I'm doing and I can get respect in the locker room and watch me prove it.
Yeah.
So it's having that, but it's also having people to advocate for you, like, hey, you need to hire this woman, she's incredible, she does all of this and you won't regret it if you hire her. Like having people like that is very, very, very important for women and like women of color as well. So
Yeah. And I think that brings me to my next question. How do we like as men, how do we create and form allies? How are we allies in, championing that diversity?
I think that it is just like elevating the voices around you. And I saw a tweet today that said something along the lines of like, hey men, it's okay to tell your friends that ain't it. And it's just, or whatever it is, like there's a lot of stuff going on within the
Yeah.
last few days of like um in the sports community, specifically to where there are conversations that are happening and things might be said that are kind of out of pocket. And I think it's more of just checking other people or saying like, hey, we're doing, it's Women's History Month, let's XYZ, or hey, it's Black History Month, let's do this. And um, even if people aren't as receptive towards it, being more of like a, hey, I'm not only going to say something, I'm going to come up with a plan to do it. And I think that we need to do this by doing, and here's a platter of ideas. Because you can only tweet about things so much and like
Right.
retweet people's voices and stuff until it's kind of like, okay, you've tagged me in 6 follow a women posts today. Like
Right.
I'm not saying that I don't appreciate that. I think that's
Right.
amazing, but I think there's another level of like, okay, no, like you're going to talk about it, be about it. But that's just how
Right.
I, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's similar to, people, especially last summer, people that were, posting a lot about, being black allies and being allies to,
Posting a black square where you're like,
right. But where are you? You
yeah,
weren't
like
you
what,
weren't in you weren't on the streets. You
were
weren't
you on
out
the
there
streets?
protesting. Like you weren't with me shooting in
Holding
the
a
gym.
sign. Yeah, no,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? Right.
And I
So
did struggle with that. I mean, it's like you can only post things like that so much until it's like, okay, now I need to see what you're actually going to do,
right.
you know?
Right. And I think that that's, in the social media age, it's easy to hit tweet. It's easy to hit send.
Yeah.
And it's easy to post a picture or tag somebody and say, okay, well, my job's done. I did what I could do.
Yeah.
But it's also, I think it's having those difficult conversations. It's having those conversations where it's like, hey, you know what? This isn't the thing. This isn't the right way to do it. Let me speak up and doing what you say that you would do on social media when people aren't watching.
Yeah.
Because
Or
at the
in
end
the
of the
big
day,
meetings.
right,
Yeah.
because even when you think people aren't watching, they're still watching, right? There's still
Mhm.
people listening. There's still people that are paying attention to what's going on. And
Yeah.
it comes out. And I think that in this day and age, this you day and age, it comes out. And so we see what's happening.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think? What do you see for the future? What do you see, with women in sports in the future? What do you see with diversity in sports in the future?
Oh, listen, I'm hoping that I am from the Bay Area. I'm like, I need all types of people everywhere. That's just how I have always been.
Yeah.
Um, I hope, I interviewed at Pac-12 this softball coach at the University of Utah. And she said to me, it was when I cannot remember her name, but the Giants hired a female coach. And, I was asked to ask her, like, hey, how do you feel about the Giants hiring a woman coach? And she said, I am very, very excited. I think it's absolutely amazing for the sport. I think it's amazing for women, but I can't lie and say that I'm not excited for the day where I don't continuously get asked about the women first. And I feel like that is a huge thing. Like just that in
Yeah.
itself is just like it speaks volumes to like, okay, it's amazing and it's incredible, but that's how like we're so close, but we're still so far. Every
Yeah.
time it's like, okay, we hired the first woman referee, we hired the first Black woman referee, we hired the first, and et cetera. It goes on. It's amazing, but it's like, okay, I'm ready for it to be like, no, this is normal. And I feel like
Right.
that's like me living far in the future, but I feel like we are slowly but surely getting there. And I think, like we said earlier, that comes down to the support from the higher ups.
No doubt. And I think that, us from being from the Bay Area, we see diversity completely different.
Yeah.
We look at the Raiders, first Black head coach, first women executive, or first Latino head coach, so all these things that seem like, okay, Al Davis was a trailblazer. Al Davis did all these things that people hadn't done. Al Davis did it because it was the right thing to do. He didn't do it because, oh, well, that's a Black guy. I need to hire a Black guy, or that's a woman. I need to make her my team president because she's a woman. Al did it because it was right. And I think that for me, the way I look at it is the only way that we're going to see more and more change is to get the good old boy network out. When you see these owners, when you see some of the people that are in these positions of power, you got to get them out because they're the ones that are holding everybody back. They're the ones that aren't championing that diversity.
Yeah.
When we look around the league, what we have one female owner in the National Football League.
And the
We
only
have
reason she's the owner is because, yeah.
right. We have how many Black owners?
Hmm.
Zero. So those are things that we need to look at, and those are things that I want to see change.
Yeah.
Um,
It starts from the top. I,
absolutely.
yeah. Yeah.
And that's
Absolutely.
with everything, right?
Mhm.
Um, my biggest thing is, I think that a lot of things go hand in hand, but you know, we got to continue to work together to uplift voices, to uplift diversity, and like you said, to make it to where it's not, you know, this is the first, this. I remember everybody was geeked out when we hired Kelsey Martinez as the first female trainer. Remember that?
Yeah.
And yeah, you're absolutely right. We just need to change that.
Hmm.
Um, what are some things that you're doing? Because I know that you're championing a lot. What are some things that you're doing right now to help lead that charge?
So right now I have this my friend McKenna works for the NFL Network, and she, who I met on Twitter, and she messaged me in the beginning of quarantine, and she's like, hey, I'm struggling working out, can I put you in a group chat of like three other girls who are gonna work out together? Absolutely, love it, whatever. So we did that. It was great. Fast forward to a month ago, I started a new one. I don't know if you saw, I like tweeted,
Yeah,
like looking for women to work out, um, who are in sports. And there were about only like 6 women that responded, but so our group grew to I think 10. And it was just kind of like it went from, I think the I don't think I realized how excited I was about it until the end of it. And it was just me unintentionally bringing women from different walks of life, different careers in sports, different backgrounds in this one group chat. And all we were doing was being positive and working out and talking about the food we love, the outfits we love, our jobs. And um, then I kind of sat and thought about it. I'm like, this is actually really cool. Like, I love working out. Sometimes I need the inspiration to work out. And so I just did another one, and now there's 20 women in it.
that's
Um,
huge.
all of who they all like there are a few women that knew each other in the very beginning, but most of them it's kind of like developing new relationships with each other. I mean, we have women from Nike to the SEC to the NFL Network to the Warriors. So for me, like I know I've met these some of these women on social media. But not everyone knows each other, so to be able to
Right.
watch those like relationships come about. Also we have Molly. I don't know if you follow Molly. She's an NFL agent. um
I don't.
but so
I
to
would,
watch all
but
these women in different capacities of sports develop a relationship, and it's just like a genuine organic thing of like, hey, we're just here to work out and have a conversation. And then the other day it turned into like, hey, I'm looking for, and actually you responded to this, but like, hey, I'm looking for meal prep places in the Bay Area. And eventually maybe it'll turn into work stuff. But
yeah,
so far it's just been like an organic conversation. And that's kind of what I'm passionate about is like, I think we talked about social media a little bit, and I think we live in a spot where it's like, it's so easy to say we're networking. It's so easy to network with people, but I think the definition of networking has been skewed a little bit. And
yeah.
I think social media has made people feel like, oh, like we're really good friends, and you're kind of like, I mean, I don't really know you like that, but
Hmm.
like I'm willing to get to know you if someone puts in the effort. And I feel like
Right.
that effort is definitely lacking. Um, and I think that ways like this, where it was super organic and it was just like, hey, we're looking for women to come work out that work in sports, because we're also trying to meet women who have the same passions as us. So that's kind of what I've been doing so far. And that's something that I'm trying to eventually make bigger. I don't really know how or like what yet. But that's something that I've been kind of trying to work on, is creating a positive, safe space for women to like come talk about like nutrition and work if need be, and like just working out. So
That's huge. That's huge. So anybody that's listening, if you're a woman and you and working in sports, or you're interested in working in sports, hit up Brittany. But hey, what I want to do is now I want to get down to the nitty gritty, and we're going to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart, and hopefully near and dear to your heart as well. And that's the Las Vegas Raiders. What I want to do, looking at this offseason, obviously it's been a freaking roller coaster, right? We lost Rodney, we lost Gabe, we didn't have an offensive line for a minute, we lost Trent, and now it's starting to kind of turn around a little bit. How are you feeling about this team as we look going forward?
I'm actually excited about them this year. I feel like also Derek Carr has a little bit more pressure on him than ever before to perform better. And I'm not saying that he hasn't before, but I think with them bringing Marcus back again, it's kind of more of like okay, this is for real. Like, and especially how well Marcus played in the game against
Yeah,
the Chargers too. So I think it's gonna be a fun year. I'm definitely trying to keep positive about it. I have
yeah.
my, you know, negative Raider hater ways about me where I'm like, listen, they're still in Vegas and I'm still pissed about it. Um, but yeah, no, I'm being positive. I'm waiting to see what happens in the draft. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think the draft is going to be huge. I think that, obviously looking at it, I look at it like this. We've addressed the defensive line ad nauseum. I think that they've pretty much brought in every free agent defensive lineman that they possibly could.
Mhm.
Our linebacking core doesn't look that bad at the first level, right? As long as Littleton can go back to the way that he played when he was in LA, and hopefully there was a problem with Paul Gunther and it wasn't Littleton. But I'm looking at the secondary, and I think that that's an area that still needs some major adjustments.
I feel like it's been like that for a while.
Oh yeah, I mean, the last time we had a really good DB was Charles Woodson, and that was what, back in 2016, 2015.
Yeah. Well, and he was like even back then putting the team on his back, but that's another
Exactly.
story.
I mean, hey, look, I can tell you that at least our players do play football better than they rap. So I don't know if you
I was talking to my brother about that. I'm like, we had a lot of rappers on the team, but
we got two guys that can rap really well, and then Waller's pretty good.
Waller's
Max
pretty good.
Max has
There's
flows, uh,
I don't
but
think
Max has I could post a video later, but Max has flows. But have you seen Mullen's new video that I posted today?
No, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, take a look at that. It's 47 seconds of pure awesomeness.
I'm always here for a fun little freestyle.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think I try to keep with the Raiders, I try to keep my expectations a little bit like low. So when something good happens, I'm like, oh shit, like we're actually good,
Right.
like good, as opposed to like par for the course.
See, I like my good friend Cody. I try to keep the rose-colored glasses on, and
Yes, I know.
and and not always. And look, I can tell you right now, social media me and what I say about the Raiders, and real life me and what I say about the Raiders are two different things.
It's
What I
good
say
to-
on social what I say on social media, I'm just, hey, look, I'm happy, I'm cheery, I want everything to be great. At the end of the day, I know that there are some glaring needs that need to help, and we need, halftime adjustments by John Gruden and things like that. But those are things that we really got to get into, But what I want to do is I'm going to end it on this, and I want you to just give a shout out. Tell us what where we can find you, what you're doing, and what you got coming up next.
Ooh, okay. So my handle on Instagram and Twitter is both at Brittany BRITTANY _COHEN 3. So that's Instagram and Twitter. And then what I'm doing next, I am just, producing all the cool shit at the volume, enjoying myself, trying to have meaningful conversations and have fun on the side. And I think just talking about what I'm passionate about, and that's people, elevating women voices, elevating women of color's voices, um, and just figuring it out day to day as I go. Living in Nashville.
Living in Nashville, eating that Nashville hot chicken.
Yeah, if you have any food facts for Nashville, please let me know because I've found the hot chicken spots. I've only
Yeah.
found one good Mexican restaurant with carne asada fries, and we're gonna need to work on that.
Yeah, I don't know if Nashville is going to be the go-to place for Mexican food, especially if you're coming from the Bay Area.
I
We got the
know.
best Mexican food out here.
I mean, between the Bay and LA, I'm like, oh no,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna find any good carne asada fries.
If you need me to overnight you some Casa Rosco, I got you.
Oh man, ultimate throwback. What's your go-to over there?
I usually get the carnitas platter,
Oh,
and I always have them make it extra crispy.
do you
And
go to the one in Dublin or Livermore?
I prefer the one in Dublin. I feel like the
OG.
food's better there. Yeah, and
Yeah.
their micheladas are a lot better there. I feel like the one in Livermore is not as good.
And their servers have been there forever.
Yeah.
Just go in there and they're like, "What's up?" And you like sit you like, "Hey, Brittany, come sit down right here." I'm like, I
Yeah.
gotta stop coming here.
Now they're always on point. We go there every time we go to the outlets. We always hit it up on the way home. So I'm there almost every other weekend because I got to hit up the Nike store as much as I possibly can.
Oh, I feel it. I've been on there. I've been on the Go app. Like, Brittany, you do not need another pair of Jordan 1s. Just stop.
Yeah. Well, Brittany, I really appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to speak with me, and look forward to talking to you again sometime.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And shout out to Megan Reyes for her t-shirt because it's dope. Hopefully this is a video and people can see it.
Oh yeah, it's a video. I'm gonna post the video. I'm gonna post the video and the pod. So I'm